Hi guys, welcome to another episode.
If you're new here and you don't even know who we are a family that has been sailing the world for the last 10 years. We started on a ferro cement boat, had lots and lots of fun, and then we bought a new boat in San Diego. And this is a boat now, it's a Pearson 530, and today we are what, honey?
Well, she's an old Pearson. She's over 40 years old, so she needs some upgrades.
And so all these shiny things that are on the table are going on to Catalpa. And we just wanted to say a massive thank you to the sponsor of Catalpa, Schaefer Marine. Catalpa's got some new bling! Let's go put it on.
We're an Australian family that set off on an adventure of a lifetime. We hope these little videos make you smile and inspire you to chase your dreams. Subscribe to join us and our travels as we share our life on the sea.
Lots of blocks and hardware in front of us here.
These upgrades would not be possible without Schaefer Marine. Yeah, they have been absolutely brilliant to work with, and we are so excited to put all these things on Catalpa. A lot of these things on the boat are Schaefer Marine, and they're original. Like, this boat is over 40 years old and it still has all of the hardware from when it was built, and a lot of it, some of it is still working and
still functional, but tired.
What we're upgrading today, and we'll show you why we're upgrading it, but a lot of it is either tired, it's worn out, it's been switched out for something else, or there's just some little funky things that previous owners have done to the boat. If you are interested, we've got a lot of refit videos. If you're interested in refit videos, and you can see us installing our chain plates. We installed a furler from Schaefer Marine. Lots of good stuff. If you like refit videos, go back, check it all out. I'll put the link up.
So let's not waste any time. Let's get into it. Let's pick a job. Let's pick an easy, simple one. So the first one, we're going to be replacing our running backstays on the Mizen. And here's the 2 blocks we'll be using for each one of the running backstays there. And to connect them on, we'll be using these 2 here. So let's go get these on. Okay guys, we'll start with the running backs on the Mizen here. These are all, we've been told, original Schaefers, and you can see the age. They're corroded. You know, a lot of this equipment is like 40 years old. So I'd say Schaefer's stood the test of time here. Make everything tough and built to last. We're going to switch this out. I've actually got a double block on this one, so just give myself a little bit more leverage. What is it? It's a 504/75. It's got a 1,750 pound rating. It's a beautiful new little Schaefer here. So yeah, that's the other fiddle block that'll go on there. And then also, we've got a beautiful little jaw toggle, which is going to connect onto our hammer marine as our connecting point. If you didn't want to go this way and you were replacing it, the Schaefer do have all the low friction rings. A lot of people build all this stuff up out of low friction rings, and then you can run it back to a winch, tighten it up, have a bit more control. That's fine if that's the way you want to roll. We're just going to keep it original and simple, and this way worked well for us. So let's switch this out and see what it looks like. Our old one, start with our tools that are a bit stiff. This here is a jaw toggle, 1/2 inch jaw toggle. Beautiful. All Schaefer stainless is really nicely finished. They do such an amazing job. I know we've had them do our chain plates and that, and they water cut everything, they polish everything, and it's just quality. This one, put that on there. Beautiful. That on here. Okay, next is our 2-inch fiddle block, 1,750 pound SWL, safe working load. Just take your time with all these little bits. They do have a tendency to jump overboard, and we don't want that to happen. Secure that there. Here's our next fiddle block. Alright, so I've attached my line. So there's the running backstay there. Beautiful, look at that. Hammer Marine meets Schaefer, 2 great companies. We're going to show you what I do when I'm not in use. So all I do is I release that, and I've got a soft shackle down the bottom here. I just bring them forward like so. Now, the previous owner had snap shackles on here, and they weren't a branded marine shackle. Since we've owned the boat, I've had about 4 of these snap shackles break. And so a nice little easy alternative is just to have some soft shackles, and then I can run that back. So that's the way I'm going, guys. Little soft shackle, and it takes 2 seconds to move that forward or aft. So there's the new Schaefer running backstay, and there's the old one. These are, like I say, they're original. A lot of the Schaefer equipment on this boat is original. And it's not so much the stainless steel housing that has degraded over these years, but it's actually, I'll show you on one of the older ones. It's actually the sheaves in here that are really starting to show their age. You can see they're just old. You can see this one here is not stainless, it's aluminum alley if you're from Australia. And it's corroded, there's a bit of dissimilar metal going on there, but these are old, these are ancient, but they're still going. If you're sailing around the bay, you probably wouldn't bother, but I don't want to be outside smashing into waves and having any of this let go, and I'm pretty sure it's a fair call to say if your hardware has lasted 40 years, it's probably about time to pull out the wallet and go and get yourself some new Schaefer upgrades. That's one out of the two, so we've now got another 40 years. I shouldn't say that, I think Schaefer only has a 10-year warranty, but their stuff definitely does last. It's built solid, and that's what I like. Okay, next job on the list is the blocks for the Mizen. So we're going to need these. This is for the Mizen boom, and we'll be replacing them with these. Alright guys, this is a hugely important one. We don't want nothing to snap on this and have a boom swinging around in 40 knots of wind, because that's when your stuff breaks. It doesn't break on the Sunday afternoon sail when you got 5 to 15 knots just cruising along beautifully. It's when the sea state's rough. It's like when it's a 3-meter sea run and 40 to 50 knots of wind, and that's when all your components are under maximum load. They're swinging around and you're crossing your fingers, your heart's beating, and you don't want any of this stuff to break. That's why I've chosen Schaefer, because it's lasted 40 years. I'm hoping when I put some new stuff on, I'm going to have many, many years. This one looks original. The shackle itself's got all stress cracks in it. The blocks aren't spinning. It's just overdue. But I've had, like I said earlier, I've had a lot of these snap shackles break. Not the Schaefer ones, but I don't know if these are a marine branded one, but the N&M. This one snapped on me, as you can see. We were sailing along and bang, let go. Stainless is all fine, no cracks, it's all good. Even little bolts have held up. They are reversed, so someone's played with them at some stage. But if you have a look, you can see here, there's a hole in the plastic. They're just disintegrating, and that won't even spin. So obviously when we got the boat was very neglected and had been sitting for a few years. But wow, those sheaves are so worn. They've actually done some work over the years, but that's what we're replacing out. And that's all stainless. So you'd call this a universal head. It swivels, it's got a becket, and got a rating of about 22,500 pounds, so 2,250 pounds. The shiny, shiny. Oh, look at that. Okay, the next job is we're going to replace our blocks on top of the mast for our Spinnaker blocks, and we'll be using these ones here. The reason they're nice and chunky like this, sometimes we lift our tender up on the deck, and sometimes we lift the tender up with the motor, or sometimes we'll lift it up on the side and there's a fair bit of load on it. So these are 1005s, they've got like a 3,750 pound rating, so they're nice and strong. You know, if you're a race boat, you wouldn't go putting it up there with all the weight. You'd probably go smaller, little prettier blocks. But for us, it's all about longevity and strength. We don't want our tender to fall on our heads when we're lifting it. So let's go up and switch out what's up top, and we'll have a look what they look like and what's actually up there. It is an absolute humdinger of an afternoon. Alright, enough looking around. I've got an hour or so of light left. Here's one block. It's got a shackle and it's looking pretty pretty ordinary really. And like I say, these two halyards will at some stage lift the tender up, and sometimes the motor's on. So it's nice to know we're going to have a nice strong attachment after we're done. And what we got on the other side here, hold on, I've got to reach around. Oh, that's an old Schaefer block. An oldie but a goodie. So, got a little bit of work to do here. Switching out the blocks is the easy part. And then I'm going to slowly work my way down and do like a little bit of a rig inspection along the way. And just double check how everything's seated and is looking after we had the mast off. Take my time and have a good look over the rig, because we're going to head out in another around 10 days or so. Enough flapping my gums. That's the first block we're going to replace. And then that one over there is the second one. So out with the old one. And that's what we're going to have now. Look at that. That's a bloody thing of beauty, that is, ladies and gentlemen. That old Ronston one out of the road and call it done. Woohoo! Alright, let's finish this off. The sun is going down. I'm just looking around up here. I actually had a fair bit of trouble. I don't know if you can see that, but it's really hard, like it's really worn where the load was, and it made the pin actually really hard for me to get out. Yeah, it's a pretty sad looking shackle. It's hard to see, but there's a really massive wear mark, and it had rolled the steel around, so it didn't allow the pin to come out as I was trying to unhook it, so it's actually a bit challenging to get that off. But let's have a look what we've got up there now. Got rid of the old crap. Oh, that's beautiful. We know we've got no problems with that. We put a little bit of seizing wire around the shackle so it doesn't undo, and that's it. I'm going to work my way around to the other side. There's a big front coming in. Actually looks like a beautiful sunset, but there's actually lightning in behind that. So I'm going to get a boogie on, because I don't want to be up here when the afternoon thunderstorms come in. Look at that, guys, what a beautiful sunset. There's two new blocks up on the mast. Oh, ho, ho, sexy, sexy. We've got a sunset on one side and a thunderstorm coming in really quickly on the other side. So I'm going to get down because I don't want to have a shocking experience up here. The afternoon storm's brewing. That's probably going to be on top of us in about half an hour, 3/4. Next job on the list is we're going to get down to the davits and replace our double blocks with Schaefer's triple blocks. So this is going to make it a little bit easier for lifting the tender up with the motor on. These double blocks, and convert them into Schaefer's triple blocks. The reason we're doing this is we do have a winch up on top, but we generally just pull this by hand. It's just so much easier. Now we have a 4-stroke now. It's a little bit heavier than the 2 strokes, so we're just going to add another pulley, which is like adding another gear, and it's just going to make it a lot easier to pull up, especially at this end with the outboard. So we shouldn't need to use our winch. A triple block here, it should just pull it up really easy. So that's the plan. We'll switch all this out. Alright, we've got our 6-to-1 going on here now. I'm going to go put this on and see how it feels.
So before I couldn't pull up this side with the motor on it, but I can now.
The next project is to get this Spinnaker pole made easy for use. So at the moment, when we go to use the pole, I pretty much grab it and it slides down. But the only problem is the pole's not set at this height, and when I'm out at sea it's usually set up a fair bit higher, and I've got to try and climb up here and tighten this up, and it just doesn't work. So what I'm going to do is rig up a pulley system so that we can easily lift, lower and adjust while we're sailing, utilizing what I have and some Schaefer blocks and hardware. So I'll disconnect this for now. This is actually just broken off, which was this part here, which I'm going to replace. It was so old, this just dropped on it and snapped. That'll be one of the replacement parts. So this will be our new slide, and we're going to connect these little blocks on here. There's our two new end fittings because the other ones were very weathered. Here's a couple of blocks that'll be going onto the mast, and I've also got a couple of mounting pads. These will be our two cams, which will lock off the lines, and vice versa. It's pretty much a mirror. So we're going to mount all this and put some line on it and see how we go. All of these bolts were put in with Duralac, so I'll be using some Tef gel on these just to stop the dissimilar metals. Aluminum, aluminium and stainless steel don't go together, so we're going to put a barrier between. I'm going to be using Tef gel today. We've got our new Schaefer slide going to fit here. Oh, look at that, hey? So that's going to be our new slide for the pole. Then, if anyone is interested, it's a 17-84, and I'm going to be using the 50505s, and they're going to be our little blocks that go under here. We'll get that on for starters. That should lock our slide on. Okay, so there's our blocks. So that's going to be pulled up and down, like so. Now all the Schaefer's, or most of Schaefer's blocks, have all got an adjustment screw on them. So what that means here, so instead of our block turning around, and if there's certain blocks that tend to get a bit of twist and you don't want it, you can lock your blocks off. So what we're going to do, just get yourself an Allen key, put that in like so, and you can either lock it off at there or 90 degrees. This is handy if you've got blocks that get a bit of twist too and want to turn around. So in this case, it shouldn't be a big issue, but I just thought I'd lock them off anyway. So now you can see they don't twist. So they're going to stay like that. So now we're going to put some hardware on the mast. I'm going to use some 316 little bolts, and we're going to tap some holes and yeah, fasten on the other blocks. You could rivet them. I like to tap little threads with everything just so I can, if I need to change anything out, it's just easier than drilling rivets out. This is just a cheek block, so we're going to be using a mounting pad, and that'll allow us to mount onto a curved surface, and then we're going to put that on like so. Okay, putting in a little tap here. It's only a little 316 tap. I usually like drill taps, but just alloy, I tend to go a size smaller than recommended with the drill size and just take my time, because it's very soft. So if you go in there like crazy, you'll end up with a terrible thread. Alright, so there's our first block on down the bottom. We're going to duplicate this up on top of the track there. We're going to put a cam cleat. I'll probably leave these just float loosely on a line. We'll set a line up when we're ready, and I'll just find the nice position wherever I feels right, and then I'll fix them off to the mast, and that should be job done. We should have an adjustable Spinnaker pole. So I'll keep going. The cheek blocks down here, I'm going to go up the mast now and put the cheek blocks on at the top. It's turned out really good. So a handful of Schaefer hardware, and here we go. We've got a block up top, block down the bottom, and when we want to use our Spinnaker pole, we can pass that to Taj. You can just lower it like so to the desired height, and we can just lock it off. Job done. Now we're adjustable, no one needs to climb up the mast while we're underway, and we can adjust our height according to the weather.
Oh, that's pretty good, isn't it?
It's pretty great.
It's a lot safer.
Alright, so putting the Spinnaker pole away is pretty easy too. I can now just hoist it back up where it lives. We can bring it back in and flip it back on. Job done. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. And then when you want to lock it off, just a matter of locking there and you can lock the cams off. Pretty happy with that, pretty simple, pretty quick little job. But for us, the main reason I put this on, it's not just ease, it's for safety. Like I said earlier, I usually have to go up and try and manually adjust it, and it's just so dangerous when you're out there rocking and rolling. So yeah, pretty happy with that. Alright guys, I'm going to disconnect our beautiful new running backs. Look at that, hey? Beautiful, looking real good. But today's task is, I'm going to remove that running back to try and get that off somehow, but I put on these donkey alloy cars here, so I'm going to be replacing them. So on the other side of the boat, there's 3 Schaefer cars. They must have split the difference at the time at some stage and added a few more cars. Now the ones over there that are original with the boat are like 40 years old. They're fine, there's nothing wrong with them. So I'm just going to put some more on this side to balance it out and try and somehow undo these alloy ones and get some Schaefer ones on there. Alright, so I've freed up this one. I don't know what brand that one is, but it's very hard to, I did free it up. But anyway, we're going to get rid of that. Slide that on. And I'll have to give this a clean up, but oh man, that's hot. This is like original too, but I don't even think there's any servicing required of that. Maybe the pin, oh, can't touch it, it's so hot. But that's some serious solid gear there, but I don't see anything wrong with it. Almost like a lifetime product, that one. Maybe the bolts in here could be replaced, but I'm not even going to look at that for now. That's just one tough bit of gear. And bolt that up and I'll get some new cars on there. Alright guys, like the brand says, legendary strength. We stand behind that. We've seen all their gear. It is strong and built to last. It's something that will take you around the globe. If you are circumnavigating, it's a product that they'll stand behind, and we do too. I hope you enjoyed that episode, and stay tuned because as we make our way down to Costa Rica, it's another 300 nautical miles or so, you'll see all this equipment that we've just put on in use. So stay tuned and we'll see you on the next one, guys.